Ladies and gentlemen, this is the one and only Dave Meltzer. He is a legend in the sports marketing world. He is an author. I got his books. This is one that he co-wrote with Warren Moon, the legendary football player, and another one, Compassionate Capitalism. He was on my YouTube channel a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, something like that. Yeah. And he's been picking up his game. You've been doing the podcast. You've been doing Instagram, doing YouTube, really starting to crush it. And David Meltzer, everybody, welcome aboard, man. Thank you, man. I'm trying to be the elder statesman of social media. So I finally found a realm that I could be the oldest person at. Now, there's a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about because I think there's a lot of good lessons for entrepreneurs. The first one is the 20-minute rule. You've been talking about this a lot. Anybody who's like consuming your IG content, you're going to see a lot of it. Tell us, what is the 20-minute rule and the value for the business world? Yeah, absolutely. So, throughout the years, I created this 5-20 rule. My goal is 5-minute phone calls and 20-minute meetings. That's my goal. Now, there's a variety of exceptions, of course, but if you keep your focus on really making sure that each of your phone calls are only 5 minutes, if possible, every one of your meetings are 20, but most importantly, brand yourself that way. What it does is a duality of, one, telling people that time is important, not only your time, but their time, but two, it also manages the expectations when people come in to see you or on the phone with you because they already aforementioned, hey man, I know you're only going to give me 5 minutes, and they're much more prepared. So on every level, it's more efficient, effective, and statistically successful. So when your assistant is booking meetings for you, that's known up front. Like a call with Dave is going to be 5 minutes. If you're going to meet in person, it's 20 minutes. Yeah, and then people can make exception requests, right? Some like, for this, it's going to be more than 5 minutes. Then we're going to go ahead, okay, how much time do you need? Let me ask David. Once again, though, I'm still building my brand and my consciousness to time and my respect for the other person. Right. Well, let's keep it to 20. Let's keep it to the 20-minute rule here. 20-minute meeting. This is a face-to-face meeting. It's not really a call because I could see you. The other thing that is a huge part of your brand is around kindness and gratitude and really helping people out. And not just you, but everybody that I've connected with on your team is always asking, like, Evan, is there anything we can do for you? Anything we can help with? Anything at all? Like, never hesitate to reach out. Explain kind of where that comes from for you and the value to entrepreneurs. Yeah, so I lost everything. I was a multimillionaire and lost everything. And I lost everything thinking I was in control. And I was a taker. I was a manipulator. I oversold, back-end sold. I worked really hard, right? I still live by the law of Goya, get off the ass. But I literally, I literally thought I was in control of my own success. And when I lost everything, I was humbled. And I decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to focus in on providing value, and being of service is providing value. That doesn't mean I'm not working just as efficient, effective, or statistically successful. Doesn't mean I'm not working as many hours. I just wake up praying to God that 10 people come in front of me that I can help. And every business deal, my only concern is how much value am I going to bring to this deal? And I allow the value to come back to me. So for entrepreneurs who are trying to build their name, trying to get clients, trying to get partners, investors, how can they use this? What advice would you give them? Absolutely. So the best advice is, number one, as an entrepreneur using this, in order to have any type of impact, you got to stay in business. So don't fool yourself into playing the game so far out that we're saving. Look, the key to business as an entrepreneur is staying in business and allowing yourself the time to evolve into a successful, passionate, purposeful, and profitable business. And if you focus in on the value that you're providing your family, your community, your associates, all of these relate to your investors, if you're focusing in on providing value, everything else will come to that business as long as you're in business. I love it. Now, I want to talk about your journey and what you're doing now, because there's a lot of humbleness in what you're doing and starting over, right? I mean, like in starting Instagram from nothing, and now you're closing on 200K, and starting YouTube from zero. There's a lot of people who don't have the humbleness to do that because you've had, I know you're a humble guy, but you've had a ton of success that you don't, kind of brag about and put it on the front cover. Tell me why you care so much now about the podcast you're doing, the YouTube channel you're doing, the Instagram. Like, why does this message matter so much to you right now, getting it out? Yeah, I also the TV show, right? I have Elevator Pitch with Entrepreneur. Yep. Let me explain this. Being a little bit more experienced,
if somebody would have come to me 10 years ago and said, Dave, there's a way that 10 years from now that you can impact a million people a day. That was, in my mind, like even Tony Robbins wasn't doing that. You would have to have a daytime show every single day that had 1 million viewers to do that. 3 years ago, when I wrote my book and I started understanding that my ideas could really help people, but I couldn't reach as many, I started realizing, wow, 10 years from now, if I stick to it, in November, I had 200 followers on Instagram. You just mentioned I have 200,000, approaching a few short, but of truly engaged followers, right? These people listen but every single day, I'm in front of 200,000 people every day impacting and helping and being of service. That's since November. My dream was in 10 years to get in front of 1 million people every single day. And now I know in 10 years, I'll be in front of millions of people. Well, every single person listening right now can be in front of millions of people within 10 years if you just start.
I deal with a lot of big name authors who've written tons of huge books, and they're part of the old school, and they don't want to get on Instagram, or they know it's there on YouTube, they know it's there, but they've written, 15 books, all these bestsellers, and they're kind of just coasting on what they're doing. What was the moment for you to say, okay, like this is important, what happened in November that made you feel, Instagram, I'm gonna do something big?
What actually happened at the Super Bowl before is Gary Vee, who's one of my mentors, wasn't at the time. I met AJ and Gary at the Super Bowl. They were starting a sports agency, and I offered to be of service. I said, man, I ran the most notable sports agency in the world. I know all the ins and outs. I'd love to help. You guys have a great reputation. I'd love to help you. Can I be of service? And they wanted me to be a consultant and help out. Well, then I started learning what Gary was doing. And Gary, of course, being Gary, is like, Dave, how can I help you? Right? Gary actually keeps a score chart of help. So he's like, how can I help you? And so I said, teach me about this Instagram thing. I'm like the rest of these older guys. I don't think, there's an audience for me here. I don't think I can have an impact. He's like, you're dead wrong. You're dead wrong. Let me teach you about content. And he's been guiding me along the way. And then, to be honest, you're the one that motivated me for YouTube, right? I had 0 YouTube videos, right? And all of a sudden, you graciously said, Dave, I'll help you. Here's some advice. And we started following. You gave me a nice little sheet. And so, it's important to be of service, but it's also important to be humble and ask for help. And I just have to tell you, thank you so much, Evan, because your help is invaluable, and you are just a gracious, humble, and you've changed my life, especially with YouTube.
Cool, man. I mean, that means a lot. And when I saw your stuff, like you remind me of where Tom Bilyeu was like a year ago or a year and a half ago.
Tom told me that too.
Yeah, so my audience, we do my top 10s based off of my audience, right? My top 10 rules of success, like requests. And a year and a half ago or so, somebody said Tom Bilyeu. I'm like, I've never heard of this guy. Let me go check out his channel. And we did something on him. And the first video didn't pop. But I'm like, I hope Tom just keeps going, because he's got such a great message. And he did, and he's growing. He's over 500,000 now on YouTube and growing. And then recently, like a couple weeks ago or so, somebody said, hey, Dave Meltzer. I'm like, Dave Meltzer, man, I love that. Because we did our interview so long ago. Like, what's Dave up to? Like, I hadn't seen what you've been doing for a while. And I looked at your YouTube content. It's like, it's good. Like, for you guys watching, and we're going to post this on my YouTube channel too. We'll link up Dave's channel. Go subscribe. There's so much value. I mean, for the amount of subscribers that Dave has, like, you're providing so much insane value there. And I looked at it as like, man, I hope Dave doesn't stop, because YouTube is a longer game, right? Like, Instagram is easy to pop quickly. YouTube, the thing with YouTube is your videos from 3 months ago can still be fire and still track for years, where Instagram, it's over in a week, right? Like, nobody cares anymore. That's why I reached out. One, because like, hey, this is awesome. Like, I know this guy, I want to do something with him. But two, like, I really hope that you keep going, because you have such a valuable message, and it's easy to look at the initial progress and see how slowly it goes. But
it's all right. I know the message works, right? It worked on stage, right? My initial success is, being the top speaker for Forbes and Entrepreneur worldwide. So if I can hit, like I just did Denny's annual meeting, if I'm hitting, 2,000 people standing ovation, why would that message be any different on YouTube? And now we're able to capture some of those, put it, and if it touches one person, Evan, it's fine with me. Like, honestly, like, My vision is different than most. I don't sell anything. When I give away my book, I don't even charge for shipping. YouTube allows me to perpetuate my ideas. It's forever, and like you said, it's a long game, and I'm planning on being around for a long time. And I appreciate you educating me.
Love it, man. Well, I mean, and it's that humbleness that's so awesome because, I mean, I've had authors who've sold 10 million books, and like the people who are winning on Instagram are using hacked versions of those authors' ideas. Like these are the experts. Like you know what you're talking about. Like anybody who wants to learn marketing, you need to follow Dave Meltzer. Like he's been doing this. He knows what he's talking about because of the follow account like Just Building. Now is the easiest time to get access and get the information that they want. And so I love the humbleness and just like I'm cheering for you, man. I like if you ever think about stopping for 1 second, like call me up. Like Dave, we got to keep going, man. Your message is too important. I want to talk about Splice.
Yeah.
I didn't know you invested into Splice. I saw it on your Instagram bio. I'm a big League of Legends fan. I know Splice covers like a bunch of different. Is Splice going to Worlds with League of Legends?
Yeah, we're going to Worlds. We actually got offered the permanent League of Legends team. We're number one in Halo. The League of Legends, it's going to be phenomenal. It's one of the best investments that I've made. I joke around that it's going to allow me to be, when I'm really old. I'll be my son will be like Steve Jones. He'll be like, my dad's a genius.
And why a European team instead of North America?
It was really relationships. So Meta World Peace, Warren, Jeff Kleinfelter, ex Piper Jaffrey's guys, Joey Brander, Waylon, just some of the investors that I knew. When they invited me and I saw the people that were involved, you and I both know. I was in China looking at a team. It's a world